to Matatanes Podcast. We have a special guest here, Coach Brian Hama. We're gonna take you around, and he's gonna talk to us about a few stories that he has. You know, how he got youth baseball, college, and then we're gonna get on the second segment. We're gonna get into some other stuff when it comes to baseball. So thanks for being out here.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited. It's actually my second podcast, so I'm super excited.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a little nervous, but we'll see how it goes. I love to talk about some baseball and impact community. So can't wait to talk about that.
Hey, that's what it's all about, giving back. You know,
right? Exactly.
Play this game for so long. You know, that baseball was when Junior was 12 years old. So
first home run ball.
He has a few of those, but it could be one of those.
I think I got the same one of those. It's Johnny Peralta right here, isn't it? Who is this? Johnny Peralta.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and then that's Travis Hama. But yeah, so can you talk to us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so a little bit about my baseball story is I went to high school at Brunswick High School, and then I transferred. Went through 4 years there, 3-year varsity starter, and then after graduation, I went to Sinclair Community College, which was a junior college, which I'll probably
talk. Michigan, right?
Dayton, Ohio. So that's going to be probably the biggest thing I'll talk about today. So when we talk about that story is kind of like what really, really grew me into the person I am today. Because I like to talk about more of the person I am today and the reasoning why I am the person I am today. And Sinclair Community College is that root of that. After COVID, I'm kind of already ruining the story, but after COVID, Sinclair shut down. So I had to transfer to another junior college, which is Florence Darlington. We ended up coming in, I think, 5th that year.
Where's that at?
South Carolina. So that's in the middle of
So you went from Dayton
Yep.
to South Carolina?
Yep. Right as soon as COVID had hit. And I'll kind of go into that story more in depth here in a second. But, that was kind of a huge stepping point for me. It was kind of a lot of these kids were trying to go D1 out of Sinclair, which is normal, right? And at Florence Darlington, a lot of those kids were trying to get drafted. So it was kind of like a huge jump for me. It was just like very out of my comfort zone. I was in the middle of nowhere in South Carolina. The only thing to do was go play with sticks play with sticks in the backyard, and ended up getting a scholarship at Lipscomb University, which is Division I in Nashville, Tennessee. And I finished out my career there, and that's pretty much it. And now I
came back home?
Yep, came back home 2.5 years later. So
that is amazing. So you went to junior college.
Correct.
Obviously, Brunswick High School, everybody in Ohio knows they're pretty decent school. They have a good program.
Right.
But, talk to me about your youth years. You get into high school, Brunswick, freshman year.
Yep.
How was your freshman year? Did you make the team? Did you not?
Yes.
Or how'd it go? Because I know there's a lot of kids that are going to schools, as freshmen.
And that are nervous, right? Yeah. That 8th grade year is definitely huge. So I always played so I was a Brunswick kid growing up. So I think I played Brunswick for the first 5 years of my life, 8U to 12, 13U. And then I transferred over to the Stallions Club. And then I went to, after that, 14, 15U, I transferred to the Canes. That at the time, there was the Northern Ohio Hurricanes.
You know what? Junior played for that organization up in Brooklyn.
Yes.
That's where
Yes. So they didn't have a facility back then. So we did practice at Premier at that time. So they didn't have a facility back then, but back probably when Junior was there, they had the facility.
Yeah, they had the one that's in
Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They tore it down now.
I've been there once. Yeah. And so my freshman year, I remember going in there. I was about $105 maybe.
Okay.
It was pretty bad, and I'll probably show some pictures, and I'll send you some pictures that you can put on the podcast
I'll put
them
up there.
Yeah, to show people how skinny I really was. And that was one thing I really struggled with, was gaining weight and being stronger. But I was always very, very agile, and I did stuff very well as baseball. Body moved really well, but the one thing I got so discouraged on was, man, I put in all this extra work. I'm better than these kids, but my batting average was middle of the pack, or say all these things I didn't do well, right? No one was looking at me. PBR.
Where did you play? Did you play freshman, JV, or varsity?
So as a freshman, I played JV. And then I went JV first year. I did all right. I think I was an average. I was starting shortstop game 1 and throughout the season.
Okay.
Pitched, threw pretty hard for my age. I think that's where I stood out and why I made JV is because I threw so hard at tryouts. But I remember being in tryouts and really freaking out because, no one knew who I was. It wasn't a thing where.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially, now it's different. You got 12-year-olds they have
throwing.
and they have a ton of followers and stuff, and it's so much more easier for people to get to know you. But okay, so freshman year, started as a shortstop, really skinny.
Yep.
So what was your plan going into your sophomore year?
So sophomore year, something clicked. I don't know if I gained weight. I think I maybe just kind of grew a little bit. Probably grew a couple inches and got a little bit stronger. And probably my sophomore year was the best year of high school that I had. So I probably I was around a 400 batter in the GCC, which is by far, I wouldn't say it's one of the best conferences in Ohio. And I think I was like the first time where I was like, wow, this is like, I could probably do something with baseball. Well, junior year came around, and that's kind of where I completely flipped script. Like I changed my swing during my sophomore year and my junior year.
Did anybody help you with that?
So, yes. So I always had the same hitting coach, and I changed.
Who was it?
Coffee.
Okay.
So he is my favorite hitting coach. Like he was the guy who I wish I had ran with the whole entire time. But of course, you're at that age where you're like, is there something better out there? Right.
Absolutely.
And it's like, that's one thing that I think kids a lot struggle with, especially they're like, oh my gosh, I see this guy on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Hey, it could be me, right?
Yeah.
It could be the one that I'm doing, right? And he's like, well, I'm going to change script from everything I've always been doing to try doing something new with this new guy, right? And I think that's where I screwed up. And, I started learning about this, right? A lot of the launch angle stuff. And I think my junior year, I maybe hit 230, 240, around that range. So struggled junior year, and then senior year was a big year for me. I think I hit like 330, but it was finally the year where I gained weight, and I had better at-bats, all that. It's actually funny. Here, I'll even talk to you about this story. I'm sure this will be a clip too. Like, what people don't understand is my junior year of high school, right? I'm a Division I baseball player. Like, that's where I ended my career at one of, 1%, 0.1% of whatever it is. I don't know what it is from high baseball players going to Division I. But I got benched, right? Like,
really?
My junior year, I was a bench player. Like, you can ask any of my teammates, like, my last 5 games, like, they sat me because of how bad I was. And I think one thing I could have taken away from that, right, I could have been like, man, I'm transferring. This is stupid, right? Instead, like, I kind of took it
personal.
Yes, in a way. And it's like, I need to either change or, like they're not going to change it for me.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. And I'll go in more in depth when I talk about more of my college career. But for my junior year, I was a complete bench player.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it's funny, up until, I know we were talking about junior earlier and all that stuff, my older son, but I think this year is when it really, really clicked for him.
Oh, it's the best.
He's always been strong.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he had the attributes, but I don't know, this summer season, he started working with you. And I don't know if it's because he used to work with different coaches and I coached him, but it's not the same.
Right.
But this year, something really clicked.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to see what he does in college this year.
Yeah. I'm super excited to see what he does in college too. Cause I think the way when he came in, man, he was just everything. Yeah. Just everything started going right. It was week after week, he started getting better and better. I don't know if it was and I saw the way he trained in the weight room. So I was like, that's definitely a part of it. So I think everything was clicking there. So
yeah. So hopefully, man.
Yeah.
I didn't want to cut you off, but it's kind of like just thinking about your story and that stuff, and it hits kids different at different ages. So my older son had to work hard, and then my younger son works hard, but still I made varsity as a freshman. Okay, right. Congratulations, you're there, but you still got to keep working.
Yes.
So, but yeah, so talk to me about your senior year. So you got benched at the end.
Junior year. Yep.
Junior year.
So we had playoffs where we went to the sectional finals, and
you didn't play.
No, sitting there on the bench. I was the only Division I player.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know if it was to make a point, but it sucked, right? And it was it's funny that I telling you that, right? And telling other people that. And I was a bench player. So my senior year, I think I put on I'd say this is where my career got fun. And I put on probably 20 pounds. So I went from 140 to 160. And my exit velo went from, maybe 78 78, 79, right? Like to like I hit 92.
Oh, wow.
So it was a huge jump, huge off season. And didn't hit any home runs this spring, the spring of high school. Kind of struggled again, but like 330 wasn't bad. A lot of doubles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, did well, fielded well. Had a really good playoff game. We didn't have a run. We lost. We were the 1 seed. Ended up losing right away to the worst seed. So got taken out.
Yeah, that happens a lot, especially at that level, So
yeah, it's tough. So that's pretty much.
So hey, I'm gonna give a shout out to I don't want to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
If you want cookies, if you want pastries, so right here, Rush Sugar actually was my old boss. She started her own business, but if you need anything, I'm gonna put the link below of her website.
Okay.
She does all types of sweets.
Cookies.
So Ross sweet, she does cakes and they're delicious. Like Junior, if you text Junior, he'll tell you. But Ross Sweet, follow them. You're gonna see it a link up there. Their website, phone number. If you want anything, just go out there. But let's go back to your story. I'm
That's
so
sweet.
sorry.
No, that's awesome. I'm with the cookies. If we can get some cookies here. Next time I want cookies right here.
Yeah.
Just eating them the whole entire time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know what? I should see. I didn't think about that. But yeah.
Yeah. Senior year, obviously, the recruiting thing came, right? Everyone's like, oh, they're committing to here. Our best player went on to commit to Lake Erie. We had 8 commits our year. So this is kind of a cool story.
So you weren't committed yet.
So I'd say I was later commit, I think.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think I committed later. But what happened was, our best player, in my opinion, her junior year, kid hit batted like 450, just killed it. He goes on, commits to Lake Erie. And then the other best player commits to Lake Erie. And I'm like, geez, all these kids are going to somewhere cool. Like, they're going on visits. And for me, it's like, my phone hasn't rang yet, right? Like, I haven't got a single offer. And, like, I got to, some D3s that I wasn't really interested in because I was kind of just like, at that point, I wanted to try a junior college route, like, just because I feel like I can do something.
So let me cut you off here. So you think that if you're not ready to go, so let's say you have an aspiration to go D1,
yep,
and you're almost there, but you know that you won't get a starting spot as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wise to go to junior college?
At this point now, yes. Like go to a Division I and bench because they got all that scholarship money, but we didn't have that. So at that point, for us, it was 13-7 or 13-9 or whatever it was, or 11-9. So that means 11% of the scholarships throughout the team. And so for me, it was like junior college was the only way. I'd say definitely go junior college. It's probably the best decision for me personally. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Like, without junior college, I would not be where I'm at. I don't think I would be doing anything with baseball.
Okay. And you know what? I went to a JUCO too, so I couldn't get away. So I was a parent, 18 years old, so I had to go to Westchester Community College. But that's a story for another day. But, it's great. It opened a lot of doors. But obviously you play D1, so, you accomplished your goal.
Yeah.
So
that was my ultimate goal for that. So, like, my ultimate goal, I think, when I was, like, 8th grade, like, it was just like, hey, I want to play Division I baseball. I don't care about playing pro. And I'll talk about that as soon as we start talking really about the college stuff. But for me, it was like, as soon as I got to college, it was like, and I'll tell this story, I guess, right now, but our coach at Division I, Lipscomb, it was Jeff Forehand. He told a story one time. He was like, hey, everyone has a Yankee Stadium. And it was like, what does that mean, right? And he went on to explain, like, everyone has their own Yankee Stadium.
You know what?
What's that?
That is amazing. But we're going to take a break.
Okay.
And we're going to come back because I really, really want to hear that Yankee Stadium story because I lived 5 minutes away from Yankee Stadium. Okay. So, but yeah, stay tuned. We're here with the Matatanes podcast. Coach Hama here. Great story. This will be great for kids to listen to. But we'll be right back.
Sweet.
So we're back with the Matatanes podcast. Remember to get your raw sweets. Follow the link below, website, phone number. Megan, she's great. And I tell you one thing, next time we talk on our weekly we'll get into that later. But okay, so we stopped, he said his coach at Lipscomb talked about Yankee Stadium. I live really close to Yankee Stadium. That's where I grew up. So Coach Brian Hama here.
What's up, guys? So yeah, we were talking about the New York Yankee Stadium. So Jeff Forehand was our coach, and one time we had a practice. I don't know if it was a good or bad practice, but we were running. It was Friday conditioning. It's called Pay the Man, where we had to run all the way to the fence, run all the way back for something. I don't know. And what happened is he's yelling at us. Some of us have our Yankee Stadium, right? And it didn't make sense to me. Are you a New York fan? Or
yeah, I'm a baseball fan, but yeah.
Yankees? Okay. So obviously Yankees are where everyone wants to play one day. It's true. Hey, I made it place, right?
Makes sense.
So, like, you go to a Cleveland stadium, yeah, it's awesome. I get to play in the Guardian Stadium, which is incredible, right? Like, oh, my gosh, I'd love to play at the Guardian Stadium for a game. But there's nothing like playing at the Yankee Stadium. It's the biggest thing that you could possibly play at. And he kept telling us, he's like, this is your this should be your Yankee Stadium. Take care of it. Do all these things. And
starting to make sense.
Yeah, and it was kind of just like, it's one of those things where it didn't make sense, but it did. It's like, what goal did I have? And my goal, right, was Lipscomb, or like Division I. And once I made Lipscomb University, that was my Yankee Stadium. That was my. That makes sense. Look around and I say, I made it. Like for me personally,
at that time and point. So pretty much, you just live the moment. Make sure it makes total sense. Like
yes.
I didn't get it in the last segment, but now I see what you're saying.
Yes. So that was like a big I made it moment. It was like my Yankee Stadium. My Lipscomb Stadium.
You know what? I should put something up there. Everyone has a Yankee Stadium.
Seriously, yeah, you should. There'll be something right here. Seriously, it's a great quote to think about.
Absolutely.
Because some people's Yankee Stadium's Cooperstown, and some Yankee Stadium is Brunswick High School.
That is true.
And it's crazy. We all have
my Yankee Stadium was Westchester Community College.
There it is.
So you know what I mean?
That's their goal. If that's your goal, and
makes total sense.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So talk to me. So we talked a little bit about junior college.
Okay.
Did you start off playing right away?
I did. So I went there my fall of 2018 and was like $160 and had possibly the best fall of a freshman you could possibly have coming in, right? Okay. And the summer before, I think I had like 13 tanks in a summer. Like it was. Oh wow. It was like all coming along. Like I was like, yo, like why is no one looking at me? Like, come on, this is the time. And 13 tanks, or I was somewhere around there. I'll go and say 10. And I went on to Sinclair. I mean, I couldn't get out. Like it was just every swing, it's just doubles. Got the starting role. I mean, secured the spot. Like there's no way I just secured it. Like there's no one competing. Everyone's just I feel like they're almost building it around me. So which was nice because I had that good of a fall.
I've seen that. Yeah, it makes sense.
And, scouts were getting recruiting me at that time as a freshman, right? I was like, I'm staying there 2 years no matter what. I'm staying here 2 years. I think that kind of got to my head, right? Like it was like, oh, my gosh, like maybe I'm too good. Like, and then this arrogance, right? And it's true. Like, and it sucks that I'm talking about that, right? But
it makes total sense because I tell you one thing, and I don't want to cut you off, and we'll get into that. So, like, I try to keep Manny humble with that PBR stuff because one of the things I don't want it to get because you're ranked here, everybody knows who you are, but you always want to stay humble. So I perfectly understand, from a parent standpoint where you're getting to this. So I see where you're coming from. But yeah, keep on.
Yeah, and as I look back on my career, it's like it sucks that I have to say that here on this podcast and wasn't not like having the conversation where like I went home and I worked my butt off. Like, no, it's not what happened. Like I was at a point where the winter came and I was like, it is what it is. Like,
wow,
I'm still going to bat 400. Like it was just this mental thing where I was like, which is kind of good, right? Like
absolutely. You want to have that. Yeah, you want to have that.
This extra boost of confidence, but I kind of almost wish I had I need to get better and better and better.
Absolutely.
And so went into my freshman year. I think I struggled. I struggled a little bit. I batted like 280 for my freshman year. Not bad, not good.
So that fall where that off season where you didn't put all the work.
Yeah.
So it caught up to you.
Yeah. Caught me for sure.
Wow. But how do you handle that?
So I'll tell you that. So this is where it gets juicy. So this is where it gets fun too. So like I sucked, right? Like
wow.
I would go.
So you went from a stellar freshman year.
So no, freshman fall.
Freshman fall. I'm sorry.
Go into the spring and probably play super below average, like super below average.
Wow.
And just not being there mentally, all this stuff, like everything just kind of chained on itself where I was just like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? And the exit meeting, right? We get to the exit meeting. End of the year, there's nothing else, we lose to a team, and I'll always remember this day. There would never be a day I don't remember like this moment. And it was so weird because it wasn't that big. It wasn't like we lost, right? Everyone's super like, oh man, like that sucks. They're all pissed off, right? For me, it was just like, hey, I had like a minute for some reason on the fence where I got my stuff out early because I was on the bench, right?
Yeah.
Like the end of the year, they benched me again. And, I sat there, and for some reason.
So the same thing that happened in high school happened in college.
Yep.
Wow.
So I got benched in the end of the season, postseason, and I sat there and I was on the fence, and I looked over, and for some reason I'm like, I never want to feel this pain again. Like it was like a aggravating pain where I was like, I am a loser. like I am the reason, and I strictly believe this, and we could call our coach right now and be like, hey, what was the reason we didn't win that year? And I firmly believe he'd probably be like, you were the reason it's like that one NBA player who was like, hey, you're the reason we're not, like, I don't know whose story it was, but like that was me. So my freshman year, like I firmly believe it was because of my efforts in the winter is the reason we did not win the thing.
And I tell this to Manny all the time. Like sometimes kids, and you know what? It's naive, young.
Yes.
As you get older, you learn.
Yes.
But there always is somebody on a team that everybody feeds off their energy.
It was me.
If they're down, everybody's down. Yep. If they're up, everybody's up.
And it was me, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah. And I so we go into the exit meeting, right? We're having an exit meeting with head coach, assistant, hitting coach, and the head coach is trying to be as brutally honest. And he's like, and this guy, he's the biggest inspiration of my life. Like, to this day.
What's his name?
Steve Denneman.
Okay. Is he still coaching?
Greatest dude ever. He's at NKU. He's that assistant coach at NKU.
Okay.
So he turned that place into a powerhouse. They were like really bad Division I team, and now they're just a powerhouse Division I. Won the Horizon last year, and awesome. But anyways, he looks me in my face and he said, you were the biggest disappointment this year. And I was like, oh. And like that heart drop that we just felt right there, like hearing that hit a different part of me that I was like, oh, right? And it was like, but it's true, right? And it's that hard conversation that I didn't want to hear, that I knew was correct, hit me way harder than needed to be.
Wow. That's, my wife always says, tough love. Sometimes you got to give the tough love. So if the coach did not care about you, I guarantee you he wouldn't have said anything.
Nope. Correct. 100%.
Wow. I feel it right now, dude. I'm getting goosebumps.
So like getting told I was the biggest disappointment that year was like, oof. So
wow.
I was like, okay, so this is where my whole career changed, right? Like that one conversation, right? Like it was crazy. Like a whole different brain change. I feel like I grew up there. Like I was like, man, do I really want to do this? Like him telling me that motivated me to want to do it. And
that makes sense.
And I was like, what do I think I could do? Like, what's my goals? Like, how do I get to these goals? All these things. And he told me all those in the exit meetings, right? Like as coaches should. Like I genuinely believe, like if a coach came up to me and was like, hey, can you give me criticism? Like I'm going to not be that guy, but I'm going to be like, tell it straight up. Like I feel like it.
Absolutely.
Because that conversation changed me.
And you know what? Nowadays, that doesn't happen a lot. It does happen, but because if you say something to a kid, a lot of parents, like even in college. So I was a volunteer assistant, a softball coach at Akron, and some of these kids, man, like everything was crazy. Like everything hurts them, and then parents get involved and all that stuff, and it's like we're not letting our children like grow through the pain. Because every coach that's coaching, for the most part, like college, high level, high school,
right?
They care, and 99% of them know the game. There are some that don't, but that's just one of the things. Like we need to hear that stuff. Yeah, we need to hear that stuff.
Yeah, and it's sad because I use sports now, so I coach youth sports now, and it sucks because having those conversations sometimes somehow the words will get twisted.
Oh, absolutely.
Or
It happens all the time.
it's like, how? Like, I'm just trying to help, right? Like, I will say it back to their, you know, like.
Because it's all about me, and that's the problem that we have now.
Right.
And especially, you know, I was talking to somebody, and so 2 weeks ago, Manny was playing, and he struck out.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible day. And the other coach, Sean Jocko, Luke Jocko's dad, he's helping me coach. He coaches at T3. He went up because, you know, me as a parent coach, I was like, I went off on Manny because I'm like, because he let himself be out of the game because of the umpires. Like, he wasn't calling. Was he bad? Yes. But I'm like, make the adjustment. Like, it is what it is. Like,
yeah.
And, you know, Sean was like, I talked to him, and Sean said, I told him that I'm so glad my son is not in your shoes. And Manny says, why? Because if you have a bad day, people are talking about you. If you have a good day, oh, he's supposed to make that play. If it makes an error.
Yep.
So it's like, and I was sitting there because, you know, our kids were on the field, and I thought to myself and thought about it. I'm like, crap. He is going through a lot of stuff because, you know, regardless of what it is. And, you know, I think he's a decent ball player. We still got a lot of work to do. But, like, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of pressure. And one of the things he said is, this is right there. It's not like back then we used to bully each other and say stuff. But now, social media right there.
It's like a whole
and like
other crowd.
And right away.
Right.
So I see where you're coming from. Like, you know, to be told that. But what did you do after that? Like, after he told you that?
Coolest thing was like, I think, like, I don't know, it's like pressure is a privilege, right? Like, I know it's like, I hate having this pressure, but also it's like kind of a privilege, right? Like, there's expectations for you. And so what I did was I had a trainer train me in the off season, weight room, and I just got back to the basics, hitting, and I got back to like being 3 times the player I was. Like, I was Division I ready, thinking I could possibly do something bigger than Division I at this point. Like, sophomore year, you ask my teammates.
See, we gotta stop that with bigger than you know, Division I.
Right.
Say MLB. Right. You know,
like I think I possibly could have gotten drafted. Like, that year, the motivation I had, the desire I had, it's like that one Conor McGregor quote where he's like, to be at a certain pinnacle of like how you want it to look, like, you have to cut off certain people, and really, like, the outsiders just can't be a thing. Like, I was so locked in on one goal of, like, bringing that team a championship, and that was my only goal for about 8 months. So, like, that was it. Like,
so
it was
thinking team, and that's the one thing, and that's amazing. You know, that at that time you were like, you know, coach said this, and then you're right away. You're like, you know what? It's about my team.
Yeah.
So so it's great to hear that, you know, and especially for the kids that are going to see this. I'm sure you have a lot of kids that are going to watch this podcast, but, you know, that is so amazing. Like, for you to understand, like, you know what, my team comes first.
Yeah.
You know, I screwed up last year.
Yeah.
But you know what, I'm going to put my team first. That's what every coach wants. To have in their dugout.
Yeah, I definitely was like a leader that year, and it was a whole different me. It was just like, that was the old me. Like, this new me is just like, we're doing this, and no one ever is going to feel how we felt when we left that stadium when we lost. So, and obviously with that was a byproduct of me getting recruited like crazy. Like, it was just like, who was this new guy? You know, my 60 was down below sub-7. I was hitting probably 100 off the tee, threw 93 across the infield. Like, there wasn't a statistic that a D1 was like shot. Like, I went from everything else, everything went up 5.
That's amazing, you know, to make the change in the adjustment, because it's technically. So I heard Harold Reynolds.
Okay.
He said, I think it was him, or I can't remember. It could have been somebody else. He says, in baseball, whoever makes the adjustment first is the one that's going to be successful. Yeah. And that's pretty much, you just went home 8 months, work hard, make the adjustment.
Right.
That's amazing. But remember, Raw Sweets Chocolate, well, sweets, whatever, you know, just follow them. Instagram, go to their website. We're here with Coach Brian Hama, you know, listening to his story. On the next segment, we're going to talk about Lipscomb, how you got there.
Sweet.
And how it was. But we're going to take a little break. Matatanes, stay tuned. So we are here with the Matatanes podcast. So how was it that you were saying it, Brian?
Montatis.
It's
Montatis
Matatanes.
baseball.
Matatanes is another word for elite. So like in Dominican, if I say, hey, that guy is a Matatan, that means he's the best. Like if you say, for example, again, my favorite player was Manny Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
Ese tipo Matatan.
Yep.
That means he's elite. So that's another word for elite. But yeah, we're here with Brian Hama talking about his high school, college, and then we're going to get into a little bit more baseball. But we left off at Lipscomb.
Yep.
Right? So you got there.
Yeah, so I committed to Lipscomb my third year, so that COVID year, and went to Lipscomb and had the year there. And, you know, it was a thing where it was probably the coolest city and the best decision I've ever made. Like, it was
What
awesome.
city was it in?
It was in Nashville.
Nashville?
So it was...
Oh, so they got some schools there then.
Yeah, so we had Vanderbilt, Belmont, TTU, Texas Tech. Tennessee Tech. So they had some schools around.
Oh.
And, I mean, everyone wanted to play us because we were in Nashville and can't play Vanderbilt because they're too big. So they come to the little kids.
Oh, little kids. No, that was your Yankee Stadium. Don't forget that.
Yeah, it was. And we had a cool year. We beat some cool teams like Tennessee. We beat that year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we beat.
Was Ben Joyce there? No, right?
Yes, that was his year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was his year.
Did you face him?
No, I did not. I did not get to.
105.
Yeah, so he hit 104 against our four-hitter. And it like blew up on the internet. It was like one of his first his first times like really getting up there, like 104. And it was like funny, hard four-hitter, best player I ever played with. Just made him look dumb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's that good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is he playing anywhere now?
So we played Burns, Chase Burns through that game back when he was there.
Okay.
Ben Joyce. And then his brother Joyce. I don't know what his brother's name was, but he's there. And yeah, they had all those good kids. Drew Gilbert, one who hit the bomb against Wright State, everyone knows.
Oh.
Yeah, so like, yeah, it was cool. And then who else is that? Drew, their third baseman, was really, really cool to play against. But yeah, those speakers there, that was one thing I'll talk about. Their speakers were unbelievable. Like, it was, if me and you were talking right here, like, we'd be screaming at each other to hear each other.
That's how loud it was?
Oh, it's the most fun stadium to play at. It's electric. It's that cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I might, when Manny goes visit, we might go down to Nashville to see. But
yeah, Tennessee's really cool. Vanderbilt, we never got to beat. Who else did we beat? We beat some pretty cool teams, I feel like, but I'll have to think of them on the way.
One of the guys I played with growing up went to Vanderbilt, Pedro Alvarez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was, dude, that kid used to hit like crazy.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's they're different.
Like I think he broke the records in home runs or something like that.
Wow.
In Vanderbilt. But
yeah.
So, okay, so you're in Nashville.
Yep.
Having fun, all country.
Yep,
You didn't want to become a singer?
Thought about it after, after I wasn't playing too much at the end. But yeah, I mean, I kind of had my career where I was, the end goal was Lipscomb, and after you got there, it was like, oh, what's next, right? Like, it was a weird, like, I wish there was a bigger goal for me. And it was kind of weird, and it was like after that year was done, I knew I was done. Like, that's when I knew, like, my career personally was done. And I never thought I'd honestly pick up a baseball again. So
really? So how did you get into coaching? Or like training?
Yeah, like 2 years went by where I didn't pick up a single baseball. Like, it was like,
wow.
I lived in Nashville. I was like, no, I'm retired. Like, don't.
It's just one of I know how that feels.
It was
when it's over, it's like
I was burnt out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was burnt out. And then 2 years later, I don't know, something hit. I don't know. I guess in a way I got my heart broke, and I was like, man, I need to get back to the basics. Like, I need to, like, you know, figure my stuff out.
So did you come back to Ohio?
Yes.
Afterwards?
So, yeah. So that happened, came back to Ohio, and I was like, what do I need to do to, like, you know, get back to, like, myself, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I had one lesson. Like, I was like, and Ryan, it's like, yeah, come on, do this. Like, I think you'd kill it. Like, you'd be a really good coach. And I was like, yo, like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is really, really cool. Like, the impacts that I can bring on players, because Steve Dinneman, right, the one at Sinclair, my first college, right, like, that guy is a coach for life. And like, that's what I want to be as a coach for these kids who,
Wow.
who
I'm
come
getting
to
goosebumps,
me.
man.
Yeah. And like, the really cool thing is too, like, being a coach for life is way cooler than being a coach, right? Like, being a coach to me is, you know, they are graduating college and they shoot me a text, or like they're, you know, for example, like, obviously I won't name drop, but like, I had a parent literally text me like, hey, my kid just opened up to me about bullying. Like, I'm so happy, like, what you do for him, like the positivity you bring to him. Like, me just being a regular coach is kind of like, hey, like, I just impact kids, right? Like, I don't think that I have that big of an
You're a
impact.
life changer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And like, for me, like, that's a win for a coach.
Oh, absolutely.
Not, hey, you know, little Billy hit a 500-foot nuke. Like, I love that, right? Like, I want to post it. I want to, congrats, like, that you deserve it, blah, blah, blah. But like, the cooler things, like, hey, I went on to play, or I went on to college because you, or like, hey, I went on to change my life because of you. So that's more of a coach that I am.
You know what? That's amazing. Like, over the summer, like, this was the first year of me not coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had the Shamrocks and all that stuff, and then, you know, I was looking for places to give the kids that I had like a better opportunity. Not that I couldn't do it, but I wanted them to go somewhere. So, you know, T3 took my whole entire team, and last year, one of my players, Peyton Wolf, he goes, "Coach, thank you." I'm like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Thank you. I'm a baseball player that I am because of you. You took me out of that team." Yeah, I'm not going to say the word that he said. You took me out of that team, and you took me under your wing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Like, literally, almost, literally, you know, it's tearing up because, like, you know, you hear that stuff and you're like, wow, you made a change.
Yep.
So I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and like, you know, there's kids that we don't notice that are like, they got bad home lives, right? Like, we don't know. Like, I don't know, or maybe they don't. Like, I hope they don't, obviously, but like, some of them, they all come from different places, but they all come to me, right? And like, you know, you don't know who you're impacting. And like, maybe down the road, like, they'll finally be like, hey, like, I'm the person I am because of you. And I hope that because of Steve Dinneman at Sinclair, how big and impactful he was to me, it's like, hey, I want to spread that impact to thousands of other kids.
You know, I'm gonna send you a I forgot what the name of the Navy SEAL admiral, but he said, if you want to change the world, you want to start by changing your bed, by making your bed in the morning. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yeah.
But like, a lot of stuff that he says, and like his story through Buds and through SEAL training, like, it's just lessons of life, and it was really touching. I actually have it on my playlist, but it makes total sense. You want to be a life changer. You want to be, because sometimes kids don't even talk to their parents a lot of times.
Yeah.
And, you know, how old are you? 24. So think about it. You got a 17, 18-year-old. It's a close enough gap where they could go and talk to you and say, hey, coach, this is going on.
Yes.
And, you know, you could be like, okay, so maybe this is the route that you want to go.
Yeah.
So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's like, I would drop a game if I have to make sure, like, someone's like that, to make sure, like, my guys are all right. Like, that's the big thing for me. Like, my team, my 14U team, my 13U team, especially, I'll talk about my 13U team. They're one of the best teams in the state, but, like, those guys, like,
I see you're posting all the time.
Yeah, those guys they're dogs. They're really, really good. But also, like, those guys for me are like, those guys are family. Like those guys are my friends. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, 13-year-old, but like, I take those guys like under my wing. Like, I would never, like, I'll make sure every day I walk in there with a smile because of them, not me. Like, I could be having the worst day ever. Like, I go in there because of them. So I'm like, I love doing what I do. It's super fun.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that, because only a coach would understand. Like, this was my first year not coaching, and for some reason I found myself in the dugout, recording, doing like video reels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and following the kids around and taking pictures. But like, for the fall, I'm like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm like, you know what? And I always did this and started doing this stuff. Like I said, I want no part of taking any kids from any organization. It's the last thing I want to develop them as much as I can, so that when they go to their organizations in November, they're better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they go to high school, they're better. When they go to their summer teams, they're better.
Yep.
That's my goal.
Yep.
So you know what I mean. So
That's
to
awesome.
hear you say that, like
You're doing it the right way.
that.
And that's what I believe is like the right way is impact, right? Like coaches, you're not going to remember a coach like, oh, he changed my blah, blah, blah. No, they're going to remember like the impact that,
Absolutely.
hey, this is how he made me feel when doing something. So.
Yeah. So have you ever been to the Barons rink?
I haven't.
There was Manny played hockey and my daughter's doing, he's not playing anymore, but there is a mural, like kind of like a quote,
Mm-hmm.
this coach that died. And, I know his name was Coach Alexander. It says, I will make you the things that you don't want to do so you could be the player that you want to be.
Yeah.
So, like, you do make the kids do, like, certain things, but at the same time, I think in that quote, he's talking about, like, changing their lives in a way, too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 100%.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
It's crazy. The impact that you can make on one person changes the world. It's the same thing, too, as like you have one bad egg, it's changes around you. So it's kind of just like I like to impact people positively. That's the thing. Like more positivity you shoot out, the more that's going to be surrounded by you. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah,
the world works.
that's really insane. But, so we're here with Coach Brian Hama, head instructor at Premier. If you want really, really good baseball lesson and life coach, Brian Hama, go see him. I'm going to post his phone number in the bottom. You follow him, TikTok, Instagram, and every other stuff that's out there. Like, he's a really, really good coach. He worked with all 4 of my kids. And, I think my 21-year-old, he totally changed his approach and everything. So if you really, really, really want a good coach, come see this guy. It doesn't matter what organization you play for.
Yep.
The Matatanes podcasts are back. We are here with Emmanuel Ramos, El Bebo. They call him Bebo. I'm not, if you want to know what it is. Yeah, look it up, Bebo. But, and Coach Brian Hama, you've been working with Coach Hama for a little bit now on your hitting. You had a big week last week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it came up in the bottom of the 9th.
Where were you? Where were you at?
Pipe yard.
Okay.
So bottom of the 9th, went into extra innings and hit a triple right center. Dude, the window's coming in.
Yeah.
And, like, he hit this bomb. Like,
Ooh.
literally, they were down 2-1. Then Ian Kane, who's committed to Kent State,
Mm-hmm.
came in and drove him in. And then Cooper Bingham, he plays for Amherst, brought him in. And then game 2, triple with the bases loaded. Like a bomb.
Wow.
Like right center. Like 375.
Nice.
I think it was the bat, right?
Yeah.
It was the
You
new
got a new one?
goods.
Yeah.
The new
You got
goods.
new goods?
What?
You got a new one?
Yeah, the 2025.
Wow. Okay.
Two piece, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was going to ask you, Manny. What was so we just got off the conversation just having, what was the biggest impact? We're talking about impacts in general, but what was your biggest impact? What was your changing point from, hey, I want to be, this better player? What is your why?
Let's see. Well, I used to see when I was like 11 or 12, I used to see all these kids, showing like 80 stuff like that. I wanted to be like them, so just put the work in.
Okay. I get that. I get that
Yeah.
little inspiration where, you see these people do things and you're like, oh, man, I want to be just like that. Because I know when I was little, I think one of the coolest things I did was when I was 14, I played against 18-year-olds, and all these kids were, like, committed. And I was like, wow, I could be that, or I want to be that, or I want to think the way I'm thinking. I want someone else to think about me like that. So
You actually did that with Coach Mealy's
Mealy,
one
yeah.
of Premier's team. You
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
won it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Your mom said something funny. You went and helped out to 2 teams, and they both won. So,
May's good luck charm.
nah,
That's good.
he brings a lot of good energy in there when he's in. But, last week, I know we talked about this earlier. Not last week, the week. Yeah, last week. It was last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had a rough time at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
3 strikeouts.
Okay.
So, but
Yeah,
one of the things
cool.
that, and it happens, but he let the umpire get in his head.
Oof.
So, growing up, like, as a D1 player,
Right.
stuff like that, where, the pitches were horrible.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to argue balls and strikes. I will never do that because, we took a lot of strikes that were balls.
Yeah.
When we were on the field, we took them.
Yeah.
So it balanced out. But what would you tell Manny, like in that situation? You know, umpires calling, you know, balls that are 10 inches off the plate, like no joke.
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell him in that situation, or what would you have done in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's so cliche to say, but, you know, you ever heard the saying, like, control the controllables?
No, I haven't heard that.
Control what you can control.
Control what you can control, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it's out of your control, you can't control it.
Yeah.
And also, like, the one thing that always stuck with me, and I always say this, if you ever hear me coaching a game, I'm always like, so what, next pitch? And I'm always saying it. It's like you hear it so much because kids will be like, strike one, and they'll go, oh.
Oh, he did that one.
That you got the head roll and everything? Oh, man. So it's like, so what, next pitch? Like, what can you do to change, like, his call? Like, my thing is, like, what are you going to tell the umpire that's going to be like, oh, you know what, Manny? That was a ball. I agree, man. Like, you know what? Hey, it's 1-0 now. Like, let's play, all right? So it's like, oh, man, he called a strike. You can take 2 seconds to be upset about it, and that's it. After that, you have to breathe. You have to have a routine and just be like, I'm done. Next pitch, let's roll. And I think a lot of players get so caught up in stats. Oh, I'm batting 400, and that's why they go crazy. It's like, oh, I didn't get a hit that bat. I didn't get a hit at that bat.
Yeah.
Throw away the stats. Those are the
Game changer.
It's the evil.
Game changer. Back when we played, it was just a book,
Yep.
and you didn't have to worry about that so much.
That's
Like
the evil,
everything is there. Like, and I think that's one of the problems that we're having.
Yep.
Obviously in youth sports, like,
Big time.
you know, we give access to parents.
Yep.
And then a kid's not hitting well, and you put him in this position, and some parents will be like, well, but he's hitting such and such. This is batting average. Why is he hitting better than me? But a lot of times they don't understand, like, the coach has something in mind. It just didn't work at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's game changer. Again, we were just talking about.
It's the evil of baseball, that's for sure, especially youth baseball.
So, Manny, what's your off-season plans? I know we're practicing. Like, what are you doing to get better? Obviously, you have everything you need here. You have the batting cage. You have the baseballs. You have the gloves. 4 Rev 1Xs, man.
What is it?
He has 4 Rev 1Xs.
What's that?
The Lindor glove.
Oh, you have 4 of those things? You got to show me one of them. You're going to need one of those.
Yeah, so he has 4 of those. So, I that's one that he's barely used, the blue one. But, like, what's your plan? Like, I get it. You said you quit hockey because you just want to focus on baseball. But then you are also a cool kid where you like to be doing stuff and hanging out with friends. And Coach Hama earlier when you weren't here, he said something like it came a point where he blocked anything that wasn't baseball related. I'm just, paraphrasing what you said. It's not baseball related. I'm going to put blinders on and I'm just going to, block everything else.
Right.
Like,
So Conor McGregor has that quote. I'm a big Conor McGregor guy, and he was talking about it's like, if you want to see the pinnacle of success or the pinpoint of what it needs to look like, there can't be like any outsiders behind, like, besides those people who are pushing you towards that goal. And it's sad because it's like you have to get selfish in a way that you have to say no. You have to learn how to say no. And I think until I got to that age where I was like cutting those people off or cutting those people who are not directing me towards my goals, it was tough because, at a certain age, you got to do it, and it's going to hit you, but you also want to have fun. So you don't want to be the guy who's not having fun. Obviously, Manny, you're good energy to be around. I'm sure you have a lot of friends, so it's kind of, sure, it's a good time, but at one point, there's going to be, if you want that success and that's something that you really want to have, got to get that very sharp, this is what I want, and if you're not about it, you're not there.
you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I got another question for you. What do you want to go to college?
No clue.
Like, do you want to play D1 or?
Well, okay, this is what I'm thinking. So, hopefully, D1, get some D1 schools. But, if I don't like the schools that I get offers from and stuff, I'd probably go JUCO at Tri-C.
Nice.
Oh,
Love it.
Tri-C.
I love
Okay, we're just talking about JUCO. Like,
Love it.
Then develop and, after maybe a year or two, then go to a good Was it Power 5? Yeah.
Yeah, Power 5.
Okay, that's what your goal.
smart.
So one of the things he talked a lot earlier was, gaining weight, getting stronger. Like, how big is
Big.
Can you elaborate on that so
Huge.
he can understand it?
The biggest thing, like, get in the weight room. Go look at statistics that say the first round draft picks for all the average weight was like 230. Like, think about that. Like, oh my gosh, just getting in the weight room changes so many people's career. Getting stronger, being physical. That's what colleges are looking.
Because you already have the abilities, which is
Yes.
plus. Coach, somebody said the other day to me, he passes the eye test.
The eye test, yep.
So now you just have to really focus on getting stronger, and you have a mini gym right there. So, what are your thoughts? Like, I want to hear your plan. Like, from now, fall ball ends in August, actually. Yeah, it ends in August. What's your plan from now till then? Not August, October. Oh, my God. August was last month. What's your plan? Oh, my God, you're so tired.
Let's see, I left at school, so I left there, got the tee down here. You gotta always hit. You gotta do your ground ball work and everything. You gotta do that every day and lift.
Okay. Were you a switch hitter?
Kinda. I could do both.
Okay. So Manny, at one point, he hated me for it. Like, this whole year did not hit. Well, he did a few times. Dude, what are you doing? Didn't really hit lefty. He's more powerful righty, but I think his lefty swing's more compact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of times, he just wants to go up there hitting righty. Like, if you're a switch hitter, how much more of a threat are you?
So much. Oh, my gosh. If I'm a college coach, green flag. Big. You could see you could do it from both ways. That's big.
See? It's not me telling you,
Yeah.
So, Manny, I got another question for you.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Coach Hama?
Ooh.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, your thoughts, like,
As
as a coach, like, and don't just say he's good. Like, elaborate. Like, what have you learned? What have you gotten from Coach, like, that has made you a better baseball player?
Okay, so, started going to Coach Hama. How long ago was it?
I think it was last December, January.
Actually, I'm gonna cut you off right here. That's thanks to John Selecki.
Oh, yeah.
That's I give him, gotta give him props. He's like, hey, this guy Spencer works with him, but yeah, John, you're a beast.
Yes.
But go ahead.
He's an awesome guy.
So, what was I saying? So, yeah, December or January. So, we started hitting together, and as soon as I got in there, greets me, hey, what's up, man? I've seen you everywhere and stuff, and then we got some lessons in, stuff like that. And the things that he tells me, that he's one of the things that stood out to me. He's always showing me videos of other people hitting. And what was that one app that you showed me that one time?
It was
delays to like 4 seconds or something. So
the delay app was a good one. Where it kind of
so
shows like yourself swinging, and then like 3 seconds later it'll come up and show you what your swing looked like.
So I mean that just helped me understand how my swing should be. He's a good coach. He's a good coach, yeah, and I wouldn't want to have another coach other than Brian.
Oh,
love it, clip it.
No, not that one.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's a good compliment. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's
That's
good.
pretty cool. So, we're gonna get to work soon once this thing's over. But yeah, appreciate you being with us. It was great. We're gonna get more stuff out there. Via something out there. We're coming up with ideas. Maybe have a weekly baseball talk about different stuff. You get to know Coach Hama. I'm gonna put his phone number below. If you want hitting lessons or anything baseball related, this is the person you want to go to. He's at Premier pretty much 20 minutes here from North Ridgeville. A lot of the kids I know are from the West side of west side around this area. Not taking anything from any other coach out there, but he's made my kids better hitters, better ball players. So if you need, go find them. And yeah, so got anything? We're gonna close with one question. This is an Ashland question.
Yep.
And every podcast we gotta close.
I've
it.
already answered this.
But I'm not gonna ask you.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
ask him.
I thought you were asking me.
What would you tell your younger self?
Oh my! What would I tell my younger self?
You got 2 minutes.
Nobody cares that much. Nobody cares that much. It's
Wow.
like, yeah, just like, I used to think back in the day that it was like, I don't know. I used to think people cared, and I got older and just realized nobody cares that much. Like, it's,
Wow.
I don't know. I think you could take that kind of how you want, but it's not that deep. Stuff is not that deep.
Makes
Life,
total
don't take it too serious. Life's fun. Have fun with it. Impact people, relationships. Yeah.
That's one of that's amazing to hear. Actually, that's one of the things I learned in Navy recruiting. You gotta build relationships, and I was fortunate enough to be the recruit of the year. But, you know what? That's a really good one. It's funny every time I hear somebody else and in everything they said, it's kind of like, wow, that hits me. But that one right there, that's actually pretty good. But yeah, again, Coach Hama, thanks for being out here with us. We're gonna talk more
awesome.
baseball stuff. And if you want a good hitting coach, go see this guy. I'm telling you, he's amazing. And then we're here, Manny. Hopefully, I can't wait to see your journey. High school next year, sophomore year. We're gonna work really hard this off season. Obviously, we're working now, but once fall ball's over and in the program, he'll go back to Coach Hama and hit a premier, and we'll go from there. I can't wait to see you, kid. I can't wait to see you develop.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a big year for him.
So Matatanes podcast. We're here checking out Coach
Appreciate
Brian
having me
Hama.
on.
Manny, have a wonderful night.